That's my voice. This is me.
Moving. Five.
800 hertz.
Yeah. Demon. On. Zolo. Get down, start eating. On. I'm with Marley. Squeeze. On. I'm with Saucy.
A-Town Buford News. We back, gang. Shout out to everybody who supports. I appreciate y'all, for real. Make sure y'all tap in on my Instagram if you got any ideas, you need promotion. A-Town Buford News, Instagram. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you already not subscribed. Make sure you hit the bell for all the latest tea, gossip, news. Tell your girlfriend, spread the news. I got the hottest tea around. Make sure you share out the video if you can. Instagram, Facebook, Discord. I appreciate it. At the time of this recording that I'm doing this, you type in Zolo Bandz. This man has taken down all his videos. This is the day after the Unsealed case has been made public. And now everybody knows about this. So let's get into the legal language of what does a sealed case mean? Or an unsealed case? Can a sealed case be shown to the general public? Can it be accessed by the general public? The answer is no. Let's get to the answer. I am not a lawyer, but I did have something sealed. I would try to explain it as best as I can as it was explained to me. If a criminal record is sealed, then it cannot be accessed by normal means, meaning that people doing background checks for a job or a loan would not be able to see this. I also believe that you can deny such a charge even exists to an employer. Until it is sealed, though, a background check will produce results. There is nothing you can do to ensure a background check company does their part, because once it is sealed, they will have nothing to find. One reason why we might have seen those charges of Zolo, even though they were sealed, it might not even be about who's releasing those charges, who's releasing those case files. If you go on the internet, anybody's files, anybody's charges can be found, even if they were expunged. So here's an example. The problem for Allen and millions of other arresters is that on a practical level, expungement isn't really expungement anymore. Even if a record is officially wiped clean, it's legal for criminal justice agencies and other websites to keep criminal records online. Arrest records, mugshots, and court records are classified in the public record in most states. There is no constitutional problem in republishing public information as long as the government makes it public first. Further, forcing a website to take down public records would violate the First Amendment. Meaning this, as long as the government, aka like the courts, as long as they're the first ones to put out the files, the charges, if somebody else finds those charges online and they put them on their website, it falls under the First Amendment. Legally, the person with those charges cannot do anything about it because the government was the one that put out those charges in the first place. So legally, you would be protected. And this is for expungement, which probably falls under the same rule for sealed cases. But I am not offering legal advice. I am not a lawyer, and it might be different for different states. This statement I'm reading you is for expungement cases. Now, whether that falls under the same rule for sealed cases, again, I am not legal advice. I cannot tell you that. But for expungement cases, it does fall under the First Amendment. Let me break down to you guys and ladies the reason why Zolo Bandz isn't registered under the act of being, you know what. The prosecutor could seek a warrant if you were summoned to court and did not appear. Without knowing your history, the facts of the case, and the history of the case, it is hard to give you a solid answer. But in reality, unless there is a complaint against you by the AV, it is most likely the charge would be dismissed against the AV, meaning the accuser. If the person who is making the charge or is making the case itself, if they don't appear in court that day, then the initial complaint, the initial charges against the person that's getting accused would be dropped. Refusing to testify in a criminal case. Prosecutors in a criminal case will gather as much evidence as possible to convict a person of a crime. Among the most significant pieces of evidence that they rely upon is testimony from witnesses and victims, and without it, they may have no case. Keep in mind that victims are considered witnesses to a crime, but not all witnesses are victims. With so much at stake, prosecutors will do everything they can to ensure victims and witnesses appear in court and accurately describe their experiences. If the parents of that child didn't actually show up to court that day when Zolo was in court, that might be a reason why he wasn't made to register. And another reason why those charges got sealed. And Zolo did say initially that those charges, those two charges for sexual violence, they were sealed because the victim did not show up to court that day, which is why they were sealed. That's what he said. And according to this website here, if the victims do not show up to court, those charges can be dropped because the prosecutors would have nothing to go on for that particular case. Alright, gang, so let's get to the juicy part. This is why y'all here, right? So let me break this down for you as fast as possible, because you know I don't like being long-winded. and I don't want to keep y'all long. Let's check this out. Storm is threatening to press charges to file police reports along with Fifi, and they are actively trying to get attorneys to put cases on Chanel. So here's the breakdown. Storm has an attorney, the same attorney that put Jenny in jail. The court is looking into basically who unsealed the case files of Zolo Bandz. As you know, if you work for the government, any type of office, each person, each employee has a special login code. When you log in into the system, the government database gets alerted and they know who and which employee logged in, date and time, and what they actively logged into, what case files or whatever they looked up, right? So Storm is apparently looking into that, and she reached out to the court system to get information as to who unsealed those charges. And I'm assuming she's gonna try to get charges based on illegal doxing. Now, who knows what will happen, the aftermath of that with our stick? I do not know. I don't work for the courts. I don't work for the law. Only someone can tell you that would be a judge or an officer of the law. But like I said, any employee who works for the government, when you access government files or case files, that can be backtracked. All right, so that's what Storm is doing, and she gave Fifi her attorney's information because Fifi's child paperwork got leaked as well. And apparently Fifi is protected by the Disability Act, HIPPA law 2020-2021. So that is the latest updates I have for you with that. Storm and Fifi trying to file charges on certain bloggers who are actively putting the paperwork out and who have put out the paperwork. Again, we won't know what happens. We won't know the outcome of this. But Storm says in 48 to 72 hours, she will know who logged into the database to access those sealed files belonging to Zolo Bandz. Let's get into what Storm's people got to say about this Zolo Bandz unsealed case situation. Fifi says Chanel's links have been sent over. Flo Macon says you can't just unseal those documents. You need their permission. I have sealed records that I needed disposition to prove it's sealed. I have to physically bring my social and ID. Another one says, so were they really sealed? Moni says, the fact that it has Fifi medical diagnosis in the court records violates HIPPA, so it wasn't supposed to be public either way. So this is for the Fifi situation, with Fifi paperwork getting put out there. As I said, according to Storm and Fifi, this falls under the Disability Act, HIPAA law, what have you. Flow making it says you can't just seal those documents, you need the permission. Yeah, I read that. A sealed record cannot be opened. Not even a judge can open it. And you tell me, goddamn. One thing I do want to point out, y'all, is that, and then Storm presented this. According to Storm, there's two Leroy Smart. There's two men that have the same name that live in the same county of Florida. Now, those sealed documents that we saw that Chanel put out there and exposed, as you know, we should, because people that do that to children need to get exposed. But regardless, my point is, Storm basically put it out there that there's two men with the same name, and she tried to allege that those charges that we saw could have been the white guy. Whether you believe that or not, that is up to you. Zolo Bandz responds to Chanel. With this, he goes live the same night this happens, and he basically says proof that you can doctor up documents. Basically, if you don't know what doctor up means, is basically edit, forge, illegally make up court documents to put people's names on it. Now, we all know those charges that we saw were not doctored up, they were not edited. But he went out his way to go live. And he actually went on some website. He edited some court documents. Now, according to him, the court documents that he edited were the same ones that Chanel put up. There's no validation of that because he didn't show anything. He just showed a screenshot of case files in a Photoshop app, and he put something in those apps. He took his name off, put it back on, but again, he didn't validate, he didn't prove anything, and there's no confirmation that the case files that he showed were the same ones that Chanel put up. Again, I'll leave that up to you guys to dissect. You make up your own mind about this whole situation. My first video with Zolo, with me exposing his paperwork, that was all legit. It wasn't fake, it wasn't edited, it wasn't doctored up in any way, and it was strictly off the Google website. Now, this new paperwork that we saw, I didn't know about it. Nobody knew about it until we saw it. And of course, there will be people out there who still don't believe that it was legit, that it was edited in some way. Which is why there's still people, women with kids, who still support Zolo. till this day because they really feel he's innocent. But again, you women are all grown. You make up your own mind. We, as bloggers, just put out the information out there to let you know what you are dealing with.